The Math Learning Center apps are great for a whole variety of functions, but mostly they replicate manipulatives in an electronic format, which is really convenient. That can be great for physical access issues. It can be great for engagement if a student is sort of electronic focused on iPads or computer. These apps started on iPads, but they've actually moved to being available as Chrome apps now too. So they have many apps. I think they have 10, 11, something like that at this point. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of three of them. I'm going to show you fractions, I'm going to show you number line, and I'm going to show you the pieces basic. So let's go ahead and get started with pieces basic here. And you can see that a lot of these apps are set up similarly. Well, they'll have a left-hand column over on the far left, and they'll have a row down at the bottom that allow you to do many functions. Almost all of them, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, will have a drawing function as well as an equation insertion function. So for the purpose of this one, I'm going to show you the manipulative aspect. So let's say in class, you're trying to teach some counting principles. So let's say it was 2 plus 3 equals, and we weren't sure, so we're going to put the question mark box in there. We're going to click done. Okay, so we can also handwrite this if we wanted to use the pen. We could do 2 plus 3 equals, and then do a blank. If we didn't like that, we could erase that. We could do a question mark, whatever you'd like. And then we can also represent these by manipulatives. So I could drag over from the yellow dots, because those are ones. I do 1, 2, and I'm going to draw a plus. I'm going to drag 3 more to represent 3. And you'll see that they're sort of attaching themselves automatically. I can also separate them out if I want to. And then I'm going to get my pen again and write equals. Okay, so we could represent this by drawing the number, or we could represent it again by manipulative. So we could drag more of our ones. So let's say we have our 2, and then we want to show plus 3. And then we can take a look at all of them. So how many is that in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then we could come up here and type in a 5, or we could use our pen and write in a 5 right there. It also has some other neat features. I'm going to use the bottom left corner to totally refresh and get rid of what we have. Start over, yes. We can bring out bars of 10. And you can do some neat things with this. You can change the colors, which is pretty standard stuff. You can also spin it. In the bottom left, right next to that refresh, you'll see 2 boxes with arrows apart, or 2 boxes with arrows together. So when something is highlighted, it sort of glows in blue. I can pull this apart into 10 ones. So here you go, I can drag them all apart now. Or I could circle them all again, and I can press the box with the arrows together to put them into a 10, which is nice for some of the base 10 learning. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of pieces basic. If we skip over to fractions, we can use either a line-based fraction system. Lower left, we can click on the line, and then we can say, let's say we want 5 parts. Okay. You can experiment with this by colors right next to I'm going to use red. So I have there, I'd be showing 2/5. If I wanted students to know that that was 2/5, if they were experimenting, the little half image next to the colors at the bottom, you can click that, it'll show 2/5, and as I experiment further, it'll show 3/5 now, 4/5, 5/5. You can also use the circle-based fraction. So if I wanted that, let's say I wanted 4 parts for this one, okay. I can do the same thing with colors. I can do, let's say I wanted purple. I can experiment with them, or I can take away that fractions tab so that they don't know exactly what it is. So this might be more convenient for, say, setting up an equation. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to put in 2 circles. I'm going to do my first one. We're going to do 5 parts on that one. Okay. And then we're going to add another circle, 5 parts on that one too. So for this one, I'm going to use my pen again. I'm going to say that plus that equals, and we'll put in a circle with 5 parts and put that after the equals. So let's choose a color. Let's say we'll go with blue. So we could say 2 of those plus 1 of those equals how many of the other? So you can see that would be 3. It's just another visual way to engage with fractions. So that is the fractions app. And then finally, I'll show you the number line app. So you get a basic number line. You can do some pretty neat things similar to what we've been doing. So we could bring up our pen. Let's say we wanted to do, again, let's say we wanted to do a simple addition problem. Let's say we wanted to do 2 plus 6 equals something. Or again, we could use our equation editor to do 2 plus 6 equals question mark box. We'll move that to another space. Let's put that below. Okay. And then in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a bar with a dotted arrow pointing to the right. If we click that, we get kind of a neat little bar. So for the equation that we picked, the 2 plus 6, we could move it so that it starts at the 2, and we're going to add 6. So the top right dot, we can drag this to be a larger or smaller number. So let's say we did 2 plus 2, it would be 4. For this one, it's 2 plus 6. So 2 goes up 6. And then visually, we can see that ends, using our pen, right on the 8. Okay. So those are just a few ways to use some of those. There are also some great apps for them available for pattern shapes, which are sort of tangram style things, a geoboard, number frames, number rack, some math vocab cards, as well as some money concepts, some coin value and coin addition and subtraction kind of things for money pieces. So if you have questions about those, feel free to reach out to us.